Good day, everyone. We are the Group 9, and our topic is all about sustainable development. First, I am Shinadine G. Lopez, and I am together with Radzan Kahulu, Ahera Rizaya Sebwa, and I will gonna discuss our objectives. First, define sustainable development. Second, differentiate stability from sustainability. Number 3, recognize the models of global sustainable development. The last one is identify the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. Sustainable development is a multifaceted concept and encompasses the interconnectedness of economic growth, social equity, and environmental protection. It seeks to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This necessitates a holistic approach integrating environmental consideration into all aspects of development planning and implementation. The pursuit of sustainable development requires a fundamental shift in societal values and priorities, moving away from unsustainable patterns to a more equitable and environmentally responsible futures. So, the role of sustainable development is to set plans that will help the present. For example, the SDGs set a plan how they will overcome the 7 SDGs or how they achieve it. Like they said in 2030, they should achieve the 17 SDGs. Definition of terms. The first one is stability. Refers to the ability of a system to withstand or disturbances without significant changes. Often focuses on maintaining equilibrium or balance. Can be short-term or static. From the word stability or stable, it has a balance and it can be short-term or static. For example, you set plan that you can do your homework or you will do some activities and then your plan will be balanced and it will never change. The second one is sustainability. Refers to the ability of a system to endure and thrive over the long term. Encompasses environmental, social, and economic dimension. Involves dynamic processes and adaptability. From the word sustain, it means they sustain the needs. For example, in your community, you see some problems and conflicts. You should set your plans to overcome those problems. Not just a fixed plan, but it can adapt to what the needs of your community. Both stability and sustainability play a crucial role to our life. It allows us to balance anything, our strength and our weaknesses, and in sustainability, it allows us to adapt anything and to change our plan to adapt what happened to our world. The next one is the fourth dimension of sustainable development, which is the environmental, economic, social, and governance. In environmental, this is about using the Earth's resources wisely without damaging the environment for future generations. Think clean energy, protect forests, and reducing pollution. It's like choosing strong, long-lasting, and environmentally friendly materials for your house. It is very important that we protect our nature. We should do waste management and also planting. It is okay when we cut trees, but we should be responsible for what we are doing. And we need to reforestation. We should plant more trees. The next one is the economic. This focuses on making sure the environment is financially sustainable. It means creating jobs, growing the economy, and ensuring everyone benefits. The next one is social. This is about people ensuring everyone has a fair chance in life, access to education, healthcare, and a safe environment. It's like making sure you have a team of skilled and fairly compensated workers building your house. It is very important that we care to our surrounding. We care about people. We care about the fair chances that everyone has access, especially education access and healthcare access. The next one is the governance. This is about having good rules and systems in place to manage resources and making sure everyone follows them. It's about transparency, accountability, and fair decision making. It's like having a building permits, following safety regulations, and ensuring the construction processes is well managed. Of course, as an individual, we should follow the laws and we should be responsible. And as the governance, we should know what we do as a person to help them and to have a good country, a better country rather. San Juan 2018 enumerated a number of reasons. The first one is Western-centric globalization or Westernization. Is the notion that globalization is a process where the practices and values and culture of Western nations, particularly those in Europe and North America, become dominant on a global scale. Here, they focus on the practices, values, culture, and they preserve it. Like they treasure it, the way they practice, the way they act, the way their values. All of that influence them in aspect. And it is very important to them that they have a good governance, they have a good environment, so that they have a better nations.
One of the reasons that San Juan enumerated is the global race to the bottom. San Juan discussed how current trends point to a global race to the bottom in terms of wages and corporate tax rates. This socially destructive duo is impoverishing millions of ordinary people, weakening government's financial muscle to provide social services, and strengthening corporations and their wealthy owners, the world's richest 1% of the population. So, ang global race to the bottom ay, it refers to the trend where countries compete with each other by lowering wages and corporate tax rates to attract investment and remain competitive. So, it has consequences, including depriving ordinary people. So, by lowering wages, it leads to poverty and reduced living standards. Next is weakening governments. It reduces corporate tax rates, limit government revenue, making it harder to fund essential public services. The next is strengthening corporations. Corporations and their wealthy owners benefit at the expense of ordinary people, exacerbating income inequalities. So, ang consequences din po ng global race to the bottom is it increase poverty nga and inequality. The poor and the vulnerable suffer as wages stagnate and social services are cut. Next is reduced government revenue. The lower corporate tax rates reduce government income, limiting their ability to invest in public services. And last is corporate profits over of people. The focus on corporate profits and shareholder value prioritizes the interests of the wealthy over those ordinary people. By understanding the global race to the bottom, we can work towards creating a more equitable and sustainable economic system that prioritizes people over corporate profits. So, global race to the bottom is, ang nagbe-benefit karamihan dito ay yung mga mayayaman. At ang mga mahihirap, ang mga ordinary people ang nagsasuffer because of this. The next one is the profit over the environment or the unsustainable exploitation of natural resources. The constant commodification of world resources from water to air and air to minerals and forest lands, which enable large companies to access them unlimitedly, is bound to exhaust the finite resources of the world. The relentless pursuit of profit has led to the commodification of the world's natural resources, including water, air, minerals, and forest lands. This has enabled large companies to access these resources without limits, resulting in their rapid depletion or degradation. The consequences of this unsustainable exploitation are far-reaching and alarming. So, dito naman po sa profit over the environment is nagpo-focus sila sa kikitain kaysa at hindi na nila iniisip na sasagad na nila yung environment. Kumbaga, kuha-kuha ng minerals pero hindi para dahil may malaking kita pero hindi nila naiisip na nauubos na yon yung natural resources natin at hindi na mahihirapan ng bumalik pa. The commodification of natural resources refers to the process of assigning a market value to these resources, allowing them to be bought, sold, and traded like any other commodity. This has led to the exploitation of resources on a massive scale, driven by the pursuit of profit and economic growth. The consequences of the unsustainable resource exploitation is depletion or reduction of finite resource. The world's natural resources are finite, and their rapid exploitation is leading to their depletion. This threatens the long term sustainability of human civilization. The next consequences of the unsustainable resource exploitation is environmental degradation. The extraction and processing of natural resources often result in environmental degradation, including deforestation, pollution, and climate change. The next is the loss of biodiversity. The exploitation of natural resources has led to the loss of biodiversity as habitats are destroyed and ecosystems are disrupted. The last one is the social impact. The exploitation of natural resources often has significant social impacts, including the displacement of communities and the violation of human rights. The role of large company. Siyempre, sila ang may role dito dahil sila yung kumbaga nagsasagad ng mga natural resources natin. Large company plays a significant role in the exploitation of natural resources. Driven by the pursuit of profit, these companies often prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability, and this can lead to overexploitation. Large companies may overexploit natural resources to maximize profits, ignoring the long-term consequences of their action. So, yung mga large companies is hindi na nila iniisip yung mga long-term. Iniisip na lang nila yung kikitain by short-term yung ay malaking kita kaya sasagarin nila yung mga natural resources without thinking na yung magiging result nun, yung kumbaga yung long-term result ng gagawin nila. Lack of accountability. Large companies may not be held accountable for the environmental and social impacts of their actions, allowing them to continue exploiting resources without consequence. So, pagkatapos nilang maubos yung natural resources na yon ng short term lang ay hindi na nila iti-take accountable yon. Like, hindi sila yung mag-take ng pagkakamali na yon. And by recognizing the consequences of unsustainable resource exploitation, we can work towards creating a more sustainable and equitable future that prioritizes the well-being of both people and the planet. Next one is the Global Sustainable Development Models. It is a path to a unified future. No corner of the globe is immune from the devastating consequences of climate change. Rising temperatures are fueling environmental degradation, natural disasters, weather extremes, food and water insecurity, economic disruption, conflict, and terrorism. Sea levels are rising, the Arctic is melting, coral reefs are dying, oceans are acidifying, and forests are burning. It is clear that business as usual is not good enough, as the infinite cost of climate change reaches irreversible heights. Now is the time for bold collective action. So the Global Sustainable Development Models, it aims to address the challenges of climate change and preserve the future of our planet. As quoted from the United Nations article of the climate change, no corner of the globe is immune from the devastating consequences of climate change. So, yung climate change, it poses numerous challenges. It includes rising temperature, food and water insecurity, and ecosystem disruption. So, yung Global Sustainable Development, ito yung para magiging way natin, ito yung magiging guide natin para sa unified future. At ina-address dito yung mga challenges at kung paano natin mape-preserve ang future natin. To address these challenges, we need to adopt global sustainable development models that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, We must reduce emissions to slow climate change, foster international cooperation. So, global cooperation is essential for addressing climate change and preserving our planet's future. Conserve ecosystems. We must protect ecosystems and natural resources to maintain biodiversity and ecosystem services. By working together and adopting sustainable development models, we can create a unified future that prioritizes human well being and environmental protection. The Pachamama socialism is also known as socialism of the 21st century. It is an economic and philosophical model that prioritizes environmental sustainability and indigenous rights alongside national modernization. The term Pachamama refers to the indigenous earth goddess synonyms with Mother Earth. This approach seeks to balance economic development with environmental protection and social justice, and it has key principles. The first principle is the ecological sustainability. It prioritizes the preservation of nature and biodiversity, recognizing the interconnectedness of human and environmental well-being. Next principle is the indigenous rights, empowering indigenous communities to manage their lands and resources, respecting their traditional knowledge and practices. Last one is the social justice, redistributing wealth and resources to benefit marginalized communities, promoting social equity and justice. The Buen Vivir, or living well, emphasizing harmony with nature and community rather than solely pursuing economic growth. So, Bolivia, under President Evo Morales, has been a pioneer in implementing Pachamama socialism. The country passed laws endoing nature with human-like rights in 2011, recognizing the rights of Mother Earth. However, the implementation has been complex with tensions between economic development and environmental protection. Buen vivir, or a Latin American concept for harmonious coexistence. Buen vivir, or living well, is a Latin American concept rooted in indigenous traditions that emphasizes harmonious coexistence with nature and the society. This philosophy critiques Western development models focus on endless economic growth, instead prioritizing community-centric, ecologically balanced, and sensitive approaches. And it has also a key principle. First is the harmony with nature. It recognizes the interconnectedness of human and environment well-being. Buen Vivir promotes sustainable practices and respect for the natural world. Second is the community-centric, prioritizing the needs and well-being of communities. Buen Vivir emphasizes collective decision-making and social responsibility. The next is cultural sensitivity, valuing indigenous knowledge and cultural diversity. Buen Vivir promotes intercultural understanding and respect. Summa Causai, based on the Kitcha people concept of Summa Causai, Buen Vivir emphasizes a way of living that is balanced, harmonious, and fulfilling.
Good day, everyone. So now let me discuss to you the 17 SDGs, or known as Sustainable Development Goal. It is the 17 goals of United Nations that covering the ending poverty and to protect our planet by 2030. It is aiming that by 2030 we have a peaceful and better future. Today, we will explore those goals and see how we can play a part in making them a reality. The first one is no poverty. Sustainable Development Goal is aiming to end poverty by 2030, that everyone can have an access to basic necessities like foods, shelter, healthcare, and opportunities that can improve their lives. The second one is zero hunger. When we achieve the first one, which is the no poverty, we can achieve this zero hunger. This zero hunger is ensuring that all or everyone can access the nutritious foods and practice the agricultural and ensure the food waste by 2030. The next one is good health and well-being. This goal is ensuring that everyone is having a healthy lives, and it is promoting the quality healthcare and preventing diseases, and also promoting a healthy lifestyle by 2030. The next one, we have the quality education. This sustainable development goal is aiming that by 2030, all students can access the quality education regardless of their background, and promoting for a quality education and having a lifelong learning opportunities. Next one, we have the gender equality. Sustainable development goal is aiming that by 2030, we don't have what we call the gender equality or discrimination. Um, this goal is aiming that um, every individual have a equal treatment. Next one, we have here the clean water and sanitation. Clean water. Sustainable development is aiming that 20 um, everyone or everyone have an access to clean water, especially with the urban area. Um, this goal is aiming that you can have an access rather to clean water. The next one, we have the affordable and clean energy. This goal is aiming that by 2030 we have all access with the energy, same with the water. Um, Sustainable development goal is ensuring that every individual can have an access to a reliable energy. The next one, we have the decent work and economic growth. This goal is aiming that by 2030, we don't have what we call the unemployed person. And also, it is aiming to protect our workers and protect their wages, to have their fair wages. And then it is ensuring to provide a quality or productive employment. The next one, we have the industry, innovation, and infrastructure. This goal is aiming for the um, productive innovation from cities to provinces. It is promoting a sustainable industrial practices, and also it is for our economic growth. The next one, we have the reduce inequalities. This goal is same with the gender equalities. It is aiming to reduce the discrimination or what we call inequality treatment. It is promoting for equal treatment for every individual. The next one, we have the sustainable cities and communities. This goal is aiming that by 2030, we have a safe cities, sustainable transportation, and reducing pollution for a better and peaceful environment. The next one, we have the responsible consumption and production. This goal is aiming that by 2030, is every individual is responsible and having their productive lives. The next one is climate action. This goal is aiming that every individual is protecting the Mother Earth for a better future. This goal is aiming that by 2030, we have a productive environment. The next one is the life below water. This goal is aiming that by 2030, um, every individual are responsible when it comes with our natural resources. This goal is aiming that we conserve and do not waste the natural resources for our future or the next generation. The next one, we have here the life on land. This goal is aiming that by 2030, we are not wasting the natural resources. And it is same with the life below water. This goal is aiming to protect and to prevent the wasting of our natural resources. Next one, we have the peace, justice, and strong institution. This goal is aiming that by 2030, we have all access to justice and not afraid to tell everything. And also, it is promoting a strong institution so we can have the economic growth that we are economic growth. One, we have the partnerships for the goals. This goal is aiming that by 2030 is we are a responsible individual when it comes with the partnerships and collaborations, especially when it is helping us in in our productive life and to develop our environment. In conclusion, Sustainable Development Goal, or known as SDGs, is a roadmap for our better future. It is better or important for everyone to understand, especially with the students. By working together, we can make a real difference and help build a more sustainable and just world for everyone.
Sustainable development is vital for tackling big global problems like climate change and inequality. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or known as SDGs, show us the way to a better future. But it needs to everyone to work together, especially with the government. We need to work together and understand each other for better future. This means fixing everyday problems like traffic, pollution, and lack of clean water that affects people's lives and the environment. Solving these local issues is key to achieving the bigger goals of sustainability and building a fairer and better world for everyone.